Welcome. I'm Liz Paul. I'm the advocacy coordinator for the Idaho Head Start Association. Thank you for sharing a few minutes with me to help you prepare for your legislative visits as part of the IHSA 2022 conference. It's important to be well prepared and to make sure everybody has a good, rewarding experience. Here's some of the smiling faces from some of the meetings that we had in 2020, the last time that we could go and visit in person with the legislators. We hope that we'll be back doing that next year. So you might ask some simple questions to get going. When should we schedule our meetings? Well, we suggest that you schedule them. They'll overlap with the conference sessions, February 9th from 11:30 till 5 Mountain Time, and February 10th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. But you can schedule your meetings whenever it works for you and your team and your legislator, of course. You want to leave at least 30 minutes for each meeting. They can be late. They can sometimes only talk a little bit and sometimes talk a long time. So you want to be prepared for that. And of course, then you could even have meetings before or after the conference. We really want to encourage you to have meetings, but hopefully I'll be able to fit you in during those suggested times. Who should you meet with? Well, the first thing you need to do is make sure you know who the legislators are for your program area. And so you're going to want to go to Who's My Legislator, this great site on the Idaho legislator page, and you'll see that there's a whole map of Idaho. And so if you click on the area where your program is, then the legislators, and you'll see you're in District 1 up there in far north, and you'll see that your senator, your 2 representatives, and if you click on their photo, then you also will find information out about them, especially their email address that you're going to need and their phone number that you're going to need. But also a little bit of biography of them, a lot of information, of course, their picture too, that's always nice, and what committees they're on and if they're in leadership. So that's really important. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is find out who all your legislators are. Find out who all your legislators are from the all the different areas that your program serves. Some people it's one district, some people it's districts, some programs. And then you're going to want to check the IHSA high priority leaders. Well, and see the legislators are on there. Those are the ones that we really prefer you try to meet with first and foremost, if you have any in your area, because they are the ones that are the most influential folks. And then if you don't have those, or if you have time after you've made those appointments, then you can meet with any other legislators from your area. And you might want to hold, try to schedule 2 or 3 meetings is probably the most. Who should attend the meetings? Well, we want you to encourage parents, of course, and staff, probably minimum 2 parents per meeting and 1 staff person. 3 to 5 people is usually enough. You get more than that and people don't have a chance to say anything. It can be not quite as rewarding. And your parents, it could be alumni parents or parents that are in the program now. But everybody needs to be prepared, and nobody should be asked to just zoom in and in the middle, 5 minutes before a meeting with a legislator. It's important that you have a little bit of a script, an agenda for your meeting, and you're going to want to assign some roles. The leader, probably somebody who's done it once at least before, will be responsible for opening and closing the meeting. They're going to want to thank the legislator at the beginning and at the end, and turn it over then to whoever you've already decided is going to be the next speaker. You're going to want 1 or more people to tell a personal story about Head Start and what it's meant to their family, to them. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. It's really good to have somebody in the meeting who knows something about your program, can answer questions about how many families are enrolled, if there's a program in such and such town, how long it's been around, that kind of thing. And you want to make sure that somebody's designated to make a clear request to the legislator, and that you have a note taker. one of the most important things about these, while we have a message that we want to give out, we want you to listen. We want you to give enough time so the legislator can talk to you, and the things that you learn from that legislator, whether it be that they have grandchildren maybe that were in a Head Start program, or that they are really interested in Idaho's workforce for the future, or that they graduated for such and such high school, whatever it is. We want you to take notes and bring that information back to us. That really helps us as we continue to build those relationships with the legislators. So speaking of legislators, you want to do a little bit of research. Who are you meeting with? Of course, you need to know their name, and they're a senator or a representative, and what Head Start or early Head Start program is in their district. And there may be multiple ones. They might not know that that place where all those kids are running around is a Head Start program. You can also find out information on that webpage about what their profession is. Sometimes they're retired, but nonetheless, they have a profession, what committees they serve on. And then you need to think about what you might have in common with the legislator. There's inevitably somebody probably in your program knows the legislator, or their children or their grandchildren. They might go to the same church or the same club. They might have graduated from the same high school. Your kids and their grandkids, might play baseball together. All those kinds of things, and try to make those links. Try to make those local connections with the legislators. Now, some of you, of course, people are just moving to town and they're in the Head Start program, and so you might not have all those links. But if you put together kind of a strong team, somebody's going to have some of those local roots. You want to think about, why are you meeting with them? Well, you're meeting with them because they have some power over helping the Head Start program grow and thrive in Idaho, and think about how it is in their best interest to have a strong Head Start program. What does it do for their community? It brings jobs, for example, into their community. It decreases the need for foster care and incarceration, remedial education. There's a lot of things that it helps develop leadership in the community. And then you want to think about what kind of stories you can tell that will bring that information forward, that will capture them. Stories are facts go in one ear and out the other often. Stories stick with them. Excuse me. Here's another great group of advocates meeting with their legislator a couple years ago. Okay, so let's dive into that Head Start story a little bit. And let me remind you that we are having a storytelling workshop for the parents. Anybody, of course, can come, but during the parent track in the morning on February 8th. And we're going to be spending time helping them think about what their strongest story is. And this story, of course, can be shared if they're meeting with legislators, but even if they're not meeting, then they can be writing a letter to their legislator or a letter to the editor, or talking about it with policy councils, So some of the things that you're going to want to include in your story, and staff has a story to tell too, and it's very similar kinds of things. What's your name? Where do you live? What Head Start program are you associated with? What are your children's names? How old are they? Get a little bit, some of that personal detail, or if you're a staff person, what jobs have you had? How long have you worked there? And then how has Head Start program benefited you or your children? And we really want to emphasize not just your children, but you and your whole family. Because a lot of legislators don't understand that Head Start is not just preschool, that it is a whole family program. So be specific, share personal details, use the names of the Head Start staff, the teachers and the staff that helped you. They're not just Head Start, it's Connie and Patrick, and it's real people. And you can also include and think about in your story, what have you done to help your Head Start program? Have you volunteered in the classroom? Have you served on policy council? What kind of skills have you contributed to your Head Start program? Those are good things. If you know something particular that your legislator is interested in, then you might want to customize the stories that are told during that meeting with them. So again, instead of just saying, oh, legislator so-and-so, Head Start helped my family so much. Okay, well, that's good. But think about saying, oh, legislator, my 2 children and I, a few years ago, we didn't have a safe place to live. Our home visitor at Head Start, Sonia, well, she helped us get housing assistance. I didn't even know that that was available. We found an apartment. And then she found a dentist for us too, because it turns out that one of my children did have some teeth problems and was in a lot of pain. So my children, Amy and Dustin, now they love learning. They look forward to going to Head Start. It's really made a difference. Be specific. You can do it. You can tell your story. Just take some notes. It's okay to read from some notes. I'm providing this in writing to you, but here it is, the Head Start message again, that we want to emphasize those things that aren't just the typical preschool things. Head Start is for children and their parents, their caregivers. Head Start helps with healthcare, nutrition, healthy habits, early detection of problems. It's always a strong story when Head Start helps to diagnose a learning disability, autism, a hearing problem, or a vision problem. Head Start strengthens families, helps parents develop their parenting skills, and helps pull them out of crisis, and all of that reduces the need for foster care. Head Start helps parents meet their own goals, set their goals, of course, have confidence and help and support to meet them then. Head Start creates jobs, a lot of jobs, and a lot of jobs for entry-level people. That's really important to legislators. And of course, Head Start children are awesome. All these enhanced physical health, social skills, math, language, literacy skills, and they're prepared definitely for kindergarten, but for success in school and life. Great staff and parents from YCAP. So what are we asking for in 2022? This is a big year for us. We're really excited. So what we're asking for is that the legislators support Governor Little's request for $3 million for Head Start to increase the number of families that can be served in Idaho. This is the moment we've been waiting for, you guys. Governor Little has included $3 million for Head Start in his budget request. First time ever. It's $1 million a year for 3 years. And it's going to go to the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee, JFAC, and they have to vote to approve or deny it. And so those are the legislators that are on our high priority list. We need to get a yes vote from them first. If we do, then it'll be in the health and welfare budget, and it will move on to the full House, where all the House members will vote on it, and the Senate. And they won't vote on just Head Start. It will be part of this big budget. So the request is, can we count on your support for Governor Little's request for $3 million for Head Start? Somebody needs to ask that question, and the note taker needs to write down the answer. I mean, a lot of times they just say, well, I'll look into it. That's okay. And most importantly, as I said earlier, not most importantly, but importantly, we want to know how it went. We want to know who you met with. Did you meet with a senator or a representative? What's their name? Who attended the meeting? Put as many names as you need to. Program or programs were represented. What happened in the meeting? Is there any follow-up that we need to do? Who was assigned to send a thank you note? A very important part of the follow-up from the meeting. All these you can print off or produce as many of these as you want. And then we're going to have a legislative report back on Thursday from 1 to 2 in the afternoon. And you can just drop in with your team anytime. You can stay the whole time if you want, but you don't have to stay the whole time. So I hope that this answers some of your questions. I really I'm excited to hear how your meetings go. And if you have any problems scheduling or preparing or anything like that, I'm happy to help you in any way I can. Thanks a lot.